Wait a second. Wait a second there, big guy. You subscribed to my channel yet? Huh? Have you subscribed? You haven't subscribed, have ya? No? Well, then you just click that thing down there, the subscribe button, and click the notification right beside it. Because otherwise I'm going to have to find you. You wouldn't want me to find you, would you? Because if I find you, I can guarantee you your fridge will be empty after I find you. I have a tendency to clean people's fridges out and sometimes sleep on their couch for months at a time without paying rent. You wouldn't want that, would you? Well, you know, this is the consequence you will have to pay if you don't subscribe to my channel. Train the muscles, not the joints. Okay, it is recording. I couldn't tell if it was recording or not. There's no light in the front. What the hell, man? My director's non-existent. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm using a little bit of a wide-angle shot so that way you can see the mountain in the background. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to train if you're working a labor-intensive job. Of course, now I'm impervious to labor. This entire thing just 15 minutes ago was a forest. Yeah, I just chopped it down just with these things. A little bit of choppy with the legs and the hands. Okay, zing, just like that. I can make mountains, or I can just chop them down. Yeah, it's kind of part of my sport-specific training program. Clear entire fields, because a lot of you guys aren't working desk jobs. Some of you guys are working labor-intensive jobs, or you're doing a lot of landscaping, maybe you're doing construction. And because we're talking about how to train, there's a train in the background going by right now. Because that's just the way it works with my life. Anytime I talk about something, it's almost like somebody up there is making a joke and has to make everything literal all the time. Always taking everything I say out of context. That's just the way it is. So the supreme intelligence of the universe sometimes is not so intelligent, sometimes it's a little bit dumb. I'll show you. There we go. Yeah. Somebody up there's a smart ass. Okay, now that that's over, now that drama's over, okay, we can talk about training. Okay, we can talk about training. Some of you guys know that I was mostly a personal trainer most of my life. I did some sales jobs, did different types of jobs, and one of the jobs I did do for a short period of time, it was about 8 months long, I did really intensive construction work. I did some foundation work and concrete and stuff, and we were working with these forms called Duraforms, so I'd have to walk in and out of a hole all day long, or at least, you know, for a few hours at a time, with 80 to 200 and something pounds on one side of my shoulder and walk down the hole and up. Down the hole and up, and I'd have to basically exchange these forms on both sides because I didn't want to be developing imbalances and stuff like that. So my training background insisted that I said, okay, I'm going to try to balance this out because I didn't want to get an overuse injury on one side, just carrying stuff one way. But one of the things that I did find by doing a labor-intensive job is that you have to make allowances in your training because of this. You can't just train exactly the same like you're just a bodybuilder, because there's certain activities you're doing during the day and certain muscles that you're working extremely hard in certain jobs that you have to take into consideration when you start programming your workouts. For instance, if I'm doing a lot of lower back work all day long and a lot of forearm work, obviously it would be counterproductive to start doing a lot of forearm and lower back work when I go into the gym. But that doesn't mean that going to the gym, there wasn't some sort of benefit bodybuilding wise. I could still go into the gym, but I had to make sure that I wasn't overtraining certain body parts so drastically and then undertraining other body parts because of it. So one of the things that I would do is that when I was training lower back, say with squats or Romanian deadlifts or a lot of really lower back intensive work, especially with the squats and the Romanian deadlifts, I would wait till I had a day off before I really hit those major lifts. Whereas during the week, when I was working the lower back all the time and moving it and twisting it and doing all this kind of stuff, I would stick more to body parts that didn't need as much lower back work. So I'd be training biceps maybe, or I'd be training triceps strong, or maybe some shoulder work. But I wouldn't be concentrating on the core because the core was getting a pounding all day long. So that's one of the things I had to take into consideration. Now, the other thing is that I was lifting a lot of times over the head. I was doing a lot of shoulder press type work because I had to hold the panels over my head and throw them. So I was doing a lot of shoulder work all day long, lifting stuff this way, that way. Another thing I would do is I would do more rear delt work and more side delt work because I found my front delts were already getting the crap kicked out of them. So I didn't need to do a lot of extra front delt work when I went to the gym that night. Yeah, they call me the human tractor. That's what they call me. They call me a lot of things, but Tractor's probably not one of them. But now the thing is, in some construction jobs, you are actually working the biceps quite a bit. You're always lifting something, putting it down, lifting something, putting it down. So again, if I was gonna do bicep work, I didn't need to do as much. I would just keep it to lower volume type workouts. Maybe a couple sets of just some pumping type exercises. Maybe I'd do a heavy set just to challenge some fast twitch fibers, but I wasn't concentrating on doing a lot of volume because I was getting so much volume during the day from just lifting the odd thing here and there, just lifting this board, that board, you know, lifting a brick or a rock or whatever it was. Don't ask me what I was building because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was lifting stuff, all right? I was lifting stuff. Doesn't matter if it's iron or if it's wood or if it's nails, it's all the same. It's still lifting. Now, as far as other body parts, the body parts that really weren't getting much of a workout on the construction site were the chest and the lats, right? Those areas weren't getting much work at all. So I found that when I went into the gym and did some bench press and a lot of fly work and a lot of pull downs or chin ups or even bent over rows or rowing type movements where my lower back was stabilized, I find there was a tremendous benefit for me to do these exercises because I just wasn't hitting these body parts on the construction site. So I was using that energy, as limited as it was, because once you do construction all day, you're tired as hell when you get home, right? So when I went to the gym, I made sure I used a little bit of energy that I had to really concentrate on the areas that I wasn't hitting, so I wasn't wasting any energy because, you know, I was using so much already. So I would use that energy to hit the lats, I would use that energy to hit the chest or the upper chest or the flies or whatever, and to hit the triceps because I wasn't using the triceps that much or the rear delts, and this way I would get more benefit. Now, if I was going to do leg training, because sometimes the hole that I was walking in and out of all day with the forms on my back, sometimes it wasn't quite so steep, and sometimes I wasn't getting as much of a leg burn. So I would be doing leg press type movements or one-legged squat type movements. I would try to give my lower back a rest during the week. And then on the weekend, like I said, that's when I would use my lower back when it was a bit recovered. So it wasn't burned out or fatigued all day because, again, your lower back muscles help stabilize the spine. So the last thing you want to be doing is maximum lifts with your lower back if it's fatigued, right? Because then it's not able to protect the spine and then you may tweak something. Mountain. Now, as far as diet goes, when I was doing the construction job, I noticed that I had to up my fats in my diet because the constant walking all day long was burning fat. And I noticed that sometimes I would hit a wall because the job that I was doing was so intense that eating just carbs and protein like I normally was eating for my workouts wasn't enough. I had to have a little bit of fat in there because it was like that fuel source that my body was tapping into. That was a slow burn fuel source that would actually help me be able to continue to move. So the odd time I would have to have a cheat meal during the week. You'll have to watch your diet. If you're being too strict, you're going to notice that you're going to feel stringy all the time. You're going to feel flattened out, and then you may need to have a cheat meal more often if you're constantly burning calories during the week. Now, if you have a tendency to put on a lot of body fat and stuff, then this might not apply to you. But if you're super lean and you have trouble putting on body weight, don't eat too strictly if you're constantly moving all day long. That's really what you do, right? You may need to actually add some extra energy calories into your diet, maybe more so than you have now if you're finding that you're losing weight or if you're always feeling burned out. Because if you're too low on your energy calories, that's a sure sign that you're going to get burned out and your body's going to start tapping into the muscle tissue for energy. Once all the other energy is expended, it's going to tap into your muscle tissue and you don't want that. Now, the other thing you can do is sip on a protein shake all day long. Make sure you put some glutamine in there, and that will help have an anti-catabolic effect on your system, so that way your body's not eating the muscle tissue, it's actually using that food that you're constantly infusing in the system. And this will help your recovery, but it'll also help you have more energy when you go to the gym that night. So you have to be conscious of how you eat when you're on the construction site or the labor intensive job site or whatever it is you're doing. You have to make sure that you're eating all the way throughout the day, because if you're not, you're going to feel really burned out and you're not going to have the energy to go to the gym when it comes down to training. So what you do during the day, eating wise, is going to be super important. If you're not eating enough protein, you're not constantly throwing food down as you're working, you're going to feel super burned out and you're not going to feel the motivation to train whatsoever, right? It's hard enough to get the motivation to train when you already have the food going in. But if you don't have the food going in, you're going to be super burned out and you're going to have a tendency to overtrain much faster. So yeah, during the week, if you're doing a super labor intensive job, make sure that when you go to the gym, work on the muscles that you're not working on when you're on the construction site. Don't get too obsessed with training everything because, like I said, you're getting a lot of sets and reps in with certain muscle groups. Your forearms are probably getting the crap kicked out of them. Your lower back's probably getting the crap kicked out of it, along with your biceps and maybe your shoulders even, maybe even your front delts. So because of this, concentrate on the other body parts when you go in the gym during the week, and then maybe on the weekends, maybe you want to do your strength sets when it comes down to the other body parts. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and mountain. There's mountains up there too. those mountains aren't as important as I am, but they're pretty nice sometimes. I mean, they're just little guys. They're just trying to be like me, right? They weren't there before I started my YouTube channel. They just kind of grew. I just kept on saying mountain, and they're like, oh, okay, I want to be one of those. They're kind of cute.